what I'll do is I'll play 3 or 4 or 5 clips of the Prime Minister's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made his debut on a podcast with Zerodha's Nikhil Kamath, where he spoke not just about politics, but also shared details of his personal life. A candid, long format, freewheeling podcast conversation, where he takes questions on several issues, ranging from the economy to his working style, personal life, how he felt during the Godhra riots. And in this podcast, the first clip I want to play tonight is where he admits making mistakes in the past and says he's not God, he's human, and he could have made an error or more. Here's a short excerpt of clip number 1, then I'm opening up this debate.
जब मुख्यमंत्री बना तो मेरा एक भाषण था और सहज रूप से मैंने कहा था मैं मेहनत करने में कोई कमी नहीं रखूंगा। दूसरा, मैं मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं करूंगा। और तीसरा, मनुष्य हूं, गलती हो सकती है, बद इरादे से गलत नहीं करूंगा। और वो मैंने अपने जीवन के मंत्र बनाए हैं। गलतियां होती होगी, मुझसे भी होती होगी, मैं भी मनुष्य हूं, मैं कोई देवता थोड़ा हूं।
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll try and run a longer clip of that. That was exceedingly short. So in the course of the next 2 minutes, my producers will pull out an appropriate long clip of that. I felt that was exceedingly short. Producers, I hope you're hearing me. And I get a longer clip in exactly 90 seconds from now, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Shazia Elmi, Ratan Sharda are with us tonight. Piyush Joshi, Tanveer Ahmed are against us tonight. And Arvind Gupta, who has worked with the Prime Minister's communication campaign of 2014, will give us a sort of a neutral perspective on this. Arvind, what do you make of the Prime Minister's, first of all, his trying the podcast format out? Did it work in your view? Will it work?
Well, I think, Arnab, thank you for having me on your show. I think the Prime Minister is known, number one, for his innovation. Especially when it comes to communication. So look at his start and adoption of social media, his use of the 3D holograms in the 2014 campaign, his extensive use of technology in all the communication, his choosing of radio for Man Ki Baat, which is reaching a different segment. And it, I think, builds upon that. The new age India is listening to a lot of podcasts. He's talking to youth. Icon who has been created by his Digital India movement, Nikhil Kamath, and in a conversation where he's really come out very confident, talked about personal things, and a very positive conversation. So I think all in all, excellent use of technology, excellent use of new media, with a person who is in, both sides is probably Prime Minister has created hundreds of unicorns, a person who himself is a unicorn, and given a very positive message. And as you rightly highlighted, talked about personal things, and body language was also very confident. So I think it is really something that is working. It's breaking the internet, by the way, and it's breaking the internet not only on the standard media where you hear, podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, but also on, clippings in LinkedIn and, of course, Twitter and Instagram. So I think overall a very, very good approach.
Yeah, it works. And look here, it's all working. And look here, Tanveer, Rahul Gandhi is still not back from his New Year holiday. Maybe he's giving podcasts in Vietnam. Really, you got a problem, man. Tanveer, you got a problem. You got a problem. Your problem is called Rahul Gandhi. Get him back, for God's sake.
No,
Get him back, or Robert Vadra will take over. Now, on a serious note.
It's good to see that you are missing him.
On a serious note, the interview was a breath of fresh air. Nikhil Kamath did a fantastic job. And the last movie I saw in theatre was Three Idiots, and I saw entire 2 hours, 6 minutes of Prime Minister's interview. It was absolutely fantastic. When Narendra Modi says that मैं खुद से मिलना चाहता हूँ, I mean, it was fantastic. Good questions. no noise. There was no narrative which Nikhil Kamath was trying to build. No optics. It was a very candid, nice interview. Let's really not draw parallels with politics. I think Narendra Modi was also not speaking like a politician. He was speaking like an individual who wanted to address to the common man to get inspired to come into politics. And Narendra Modi says one thing, मैं नहीं चाहता कि आज के युवा बीजेपी में आए, मैं चाहता हूं कि वो सक्रिय राजनीति में आए. अरे इतना अच्छा स्टेटमेंट दिया है, इसको हम पॉलिटिसाइज करेंगे. तो आई थिंक निखिल कामत का जो एक मुद्दा था टू ब्रिंग an interview of the Prime Minister to the entire general masses, that would be lost. And also one more thing, when Narendra Modi says, which I would like to quote,
have you changed parties recently? Have you changed parties recently? Are you planning to change parties again?
I will tell
because you never
thing.
know,
I would be ideologically always against certain things which with the Prime Minister. Prime Minister has agreed that he is a human being, he has erred. I can talk about those mistakes, but today is not a day. Today is not a day. Today let us really celebrate. It is our Prime Minister. He is not a politician. If at all it was an interview of a politician, I would have pinpointed hundreds of mistakes.
Yeah, that I agree with.
Nikhil, you did a fantastic job. I think we all need to really applaud to Nikhil Kamath.
I would agree with
Tanveer. As a Bengalorean, as a good friend of Nikhil Kamath, 1 second, Shazia, 1 second. Don't give background music. Nikhil Kamath, who's from my city, good friend of mine. Nikhil, you did a good job. I think the entire nation applauds for your great interview.
It's not background music.
Yeah. Can I come in for a second?
Yeah, Piyush, I want to play the longer clip now.
So great.
I want to play the longer clip now, Shazia, where the Prime Minister says, "I'm human, right? I'm not God. Mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. I am a human. I may make mistakes, but I will not make mistakes with bad intentions. I make them my life mantras. Mistakes happen. I am not God." Right? And I found the Congress ecosystem's response to this very cynical, very predictable. This attempt to say that he is, he has claimed that he has some divinity in him is a complete misinterpretation of what the Prime Minister had said earlier. But I want to play this long clip now. Ladies and gentlemen, listen into this long clip where the Prime Minister talks about mistakes he may have made.
जब आप पहले कह रहे थे कि वो जो लोगों के साथ रहना, फीलिंग फॉर देम, वो एम्पैथी, सिंपैथी, क्या आपके चाइल्डहुड में ऐसी कोई चीजें थी विच मेड यू लाइक दैट? मतलब जैसे आप कह रहे थे कि पॉलिटिशियन जब आप बनना चाहते हैं तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट यू, यू आर सेकेंडरी. जो लोग हैं जिनके लिए आप पॉलिटिशियन हैं वो पहला बन जाते हैं. आपके चाइल्डहुड में ऐसी कोई चीज थी जिसकी वजह से वो?
ऐसा है कि मेरा जीवन मैंने नहीं बनाया है, हालात ने बनाया है. मैं बचपन से जो जिंदगी गुजार करके आया हूं, मैं उसकी गहराई में जाना नहीं चाहता हूं कि अलग मेरा बचपन बीता है. लेकिन वो जिंदगी बहुत कुछ सिखाती है जी. और शायद वही मेरा एक प्रकार से सबसे बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटी थी. मुसीबत यूनिवर्सिटी है मेरे लिए, जो मुझे सिखाती है. और हो सकता है कि मैंने मुसीबत को मोहब्बत करना सीख लिया है, जिसने मुझे बहुत कुछ सिखाया है. मैं उस राज्य से आता हूं जहां मैंने माताओं बहनों को सर पे घड़ा लेकर के 2-2, 3-3 किलोमीटर पानी के लिए जाते देखा है. तब मेरा मन करता है कि आजादी के 75 साल के बाद क्या मैं पानी पहुंचा सकता हूं? तो उस संवेदनाओं में से पैदा हुई मेरी ये एक्टिविटी है. योजनाएं होगी, पहले भी होगी. मैं योजनाओं को क्लेम नहीं करता हूं. सपने पहले भी लोगों ने देखे होंगे, लेकिन मैं उन सपनों के लिए खप जाता हूं। सपने किसी के भी क्यों ना हो, लेकिन वो सपना सही है तो मेरा काम है मैं खप जाऊं ताकि कुछ निकले देश के लिए। जब मुख्यमंत्री बना तो मेरा एक भाषण था और सहज रूप से मैंने कहा था मैं मेहनत करने में कोई कमी नहीं रखूंगा। दूसरा, मैं मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं करूंगा। और तीसरा, मनुष्य हूं, गलती हो सकती है, बद इरादे से गलत नहीं करूंगा। और वो मैंने अपने जीवन के मंत्र बनाए हैं। गलतियां होती होगी, मुझसे भी होती होगी, मैं भी मनुष्य हूं, मैं कोई देवता थोड़ा हूं। तो मनुष्य हूं तो गलती होती है, बद इरादे से गलत नहीं करूंगा, ये मेरे मन का रहा है हमेशा।
You know, this completely neutralizes all those people, Piyush, who are trying to make fun of what the Prime Minister said, you know, when he spoke about his experiences earlier, and it was misinterpreted, misquoted maliciously by the Congress ecosystem, saying the Prime Minister has assumed some kind of personal divinity, that he's non-biological, and some really cheap comments have been made, hasn't it, for the longest time, Shazia, on this. By speaking so authentically, so openly, the Prime Minister has neutralized all of those people today. That's my take, if you see the depth of what he has said there. Yeah, Piyush.
You know, I would definitely differ with you on this particular aspect. The Prime Minister, there's nothing candid about Prime Minister Modi. Everything is well rehearsed, everything is well planned, every statement is designed. You know, whatever he wants to communicate, he's an excellent communicator, and just to even presume that Modi ji is speaking a word or speaking a sentence without actually thinking over it for a longer period of time and about the messages that his interview or his sentence or his speech is going to deliver will be like living in a fool's paradise. You know, he definitely does not mean that he was divine. He definitely wanted the people to believe and to communicate that he has mistakes, you know, to err is human.
Tell me a single mistake that Rahul Gandhi has accepted till now. Tell me a single mistake that Arvind Kejriwal has accepted till now.
Oh yes, so many.
That Arvind Kejriwal has accepted one mistake till now.
So many mistakes Arvind Kejriwal has accepted.
Tell me one mistake Sonia Gandhi has accepted till now.
Let me enumerate what mistakes Arvind Kejriwal has accepted. He has not even accepted his mistakes. At times he has publicly apologized for making those mistakes.
Yeah,
you know, like taking the support of Congress party in his first term. You know, like not being able to clean Yamuna River in the first term.
No, that is not.
Right
that
up to
is
now.
because
so
the
he has
elections
accepted so many mistakes.
Piyush, Shazia is countering, I'm allowing
because the
it.
elections are
Viewers, my question tonight, do you think the Prime Minister is at the top of his communication game? And Shazia is countering tonight on this live debate.
Just one more sentence. It's an exercise by Prime Minister Modi, who's an expert communicator in empathy and warmth generation.
Deciphering Modi ji for who he is. Yeah, Piyush, are you done? After you, Piyush.
Yeah, please. I'm done. Please.
So Piyush, obviously you missed the spontaneity, the authenticity of what the man stood for and spoke about and communicated. And I think there is a deeply reflective person there, a philosopher. Life has taught him all the lessons. He bears his soul. And yes, he does not shoot off his mouth like others do. There is deliberation because he's endured, and that's a kind of life he's led. Things that stand apart for me, and I relate at a personal level, is the sense of empathy. And I think, I can't compare myself with him, but I'm a fellow empath. And I think that drives him. And you know, like the famous quote goes, that what lies ahead of us and what lies behind us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So what is it that resides within? What is that tattva? What is that element that makes him who he is? And he says he has not planned. Life has taken him wherever it has. And when he says that I'm human, I'm bound to make mistakes, but please grant me one thing, that it came from a good place. From a belief that I'm doing something good for my country and all the Indians. And I think that is extremely important that he says that. The earlier statement which Piyush is talking about, which became a talking point, and it's very silly and limited. You know why? Because people who have an idea of the spiritual realm, who have deeper questions to ask themselves as to what is my purpose in life. So PM Modi ji even then said that I don't understand this biological stuff. I've been sent here for a purpose. Like he says, I don't even know what my purpose was. I just went and followed a path. But I knew one thing, that I will work hard. So I think people need to get that. And I think that aspect, you know, of a higher awareness, a self-awareness, a deep consciousness of what you're meant to do, that you have to have a vision and that your life must be of use in some way, in every way possible to serve.
No, I think what the Prime Minister,
honest interview.
I want to make a comment on what I felt.
I think there's a lot there.
I just want to make a comment on what I think the Prime Minister said when he spoke the last time about his divine experiences. 1 minute, let me give my view and I'm coming to you. You see, just 1 minute, Tanveer. Taking Narendra Modi's statement and pulling it out of context is very easy. But none of these people has the courage, Ratan Sharda, to accept that the comment that they misinterpreted was a comment that the Honorable Prime Minister made in the context of his late mother, to whom the whole country knows he was incredibly attached and devoted to. In that context, viewers, speaking about the sense of loss he experienced when his mother passed away, he says, after her demise, when I look at my experiences, I was convinced I was sent by God, which means a person asks himself or herself existential questions after their sole surviving parent passes away. At that moment, Prime Minister gives himself a sense of purpose by saying that I am on a mission sent by God. When anyone says, I am on, and this is all people from all religion, but certainly all Sanatanis look at it that way, that whatever we are doing, and he says this, please understand the depth. He says, I am nothing, but I am an instrument of God. His words are, I am nothing but an instrument that God has sent. Which means I individually, Narendra Modi, I don't consider myself anything. I merely consider myself an instrument which God has sent. I am my body, my strength of my body, my inspiration, my strength, my ability is all a gift of the divine to serve the larger national purpose. This is actually what the Prime Minister said. And I'm happy that I have had an opportunity to put this on record, because I believe that it is one of the most cruel things. It is one of the most cruel things anyone can do. To take a statement made out of the purity of intention that Prime Minister Modi has when he spoke about how he felt after his mother's demise. He's saying, after my mother passed away, I'm nothing. I'm just an instrument of God to serve my country. That has been misinterpreted, Ratan Sharda, to say, I am divinity. And I don't think the Prime Minister intended to clarify that, but in a way he has today, which is good. Which is good. Ratan Sharda.
Isn't it true, Arnab, that every person who is in public life always believes, as per Hindu philosophy, that he has been sent to earth for some purpose? That's all Narendra Modi said. Now, more importantly, see, I did a small poll on Twitter.
Hindu philosophy said that is a philosophy of mankind. Ratan Sharda ji, that's a philosophy of mankind.
Hindu Dharma is philosophy of mankind.
It is
a philosophy of mankind. What is the problem? Because we ask question, why I'm in this world, where will I go?
I'm quoting Quran, that's exactly what Quran also says.
Exactly. That's
you are sent for a purpose to serve.
भैया तो कुरान नहीं बोला, बात में मुद्दा ये नहीं है. चलो कुरान ने बोला, मोदी जी ने कुरान को कोट किया, आपको प्रॉब्लम है? नहीं है ना, तो शांत रहिए. तो अच्छी बातें हो रही हैं. मैं अच्छी बात बोलूंगा. किसी को क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहा हूं.
आप है ना, हर चीज को धार्मिक रूप पर दीजिएगा.
आपने बोला ना, कुरान ने बोला अच्छी बात है, तो कुरान को बोल के बोला, क्या दिक्कत है आपको? मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. हम हिंदुओं के इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. आपको दिक्कत है. ठीक है, अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. I did a small poll on Twitter. 72, I said whether this podcast was inspirational or political. 72% people said it was inspirational. 28% people thought it was political. Right? Thirdly, when you say Modi ji, it's not communication that he's trying to do. Modi ji is a wonderful conversationalist. On this podcast, he was conversing with the person in the front. I've gone through some of the such meetings where he has been conversing with 10 people, 30 people, telling what he has done, how he does, how he takes a decision. Look at how he explained how he made bureaucrats work, how he made bureaucrats realize that they're away from the people. We should look at that. Also, when you joke about him, I think it's very poor taste. Now, it was a feel-good chat. On a lighter note, Nikhil was tense. Nikhil was very overawed by the situation because he could not even laugh at Ahmedabadi joke. So on a lighter note. Now, abhi piche tokna mat Tanveer, we are very upset because I told your friend was tense. Okay. Now, look at his way he can inspire youth. He said, you join politics not for just elections. You join politics for affecting policies, impacting policies, and he's talking to a person who is highly successful. He's a youth icon. And this video, which is breaking net, is seen mostly by the youth. And they see his podcast for hours together in various places. And he talks about leadership beyond politics. He talks about, see, the tragedy of a particular person. He says, I have no relations left. Can we imagine that a person at the top, how he feels isolated in the sense that he doesn't have direct communication with people who are afraid to talk to him because he's so big now. Even his friends feel he's so big. And the experience as a child, he clearly says that my experience as a child, as a poor person who could not join army because his father didn't have money, that has impacted him. So he works for the poor, not because there is somebody telling him to do, not because of votes, but because in his heart there is deep empathy of the people who are there. And he has invited the youth. And the intention should be good. That is what I'm saying.
Okay, Piyush is responding to this. Yeah.
Into Ran Utsav. He has converted his yatra into Ran Utsav, which is most successful. So look at how you convert your experiences into real life policies that impact the people in a very good way. So let us take in a way leading the country for last 40 years on Arvind Kejriwal. Just a moment. Arvind Kejriwal only apologizes when forced by the courts. कोर्ट में जाके माफी मांगते हैं नितिन गडकरी से, अरुण जेटली से, और कहीं माफी नहीं मांगते। वो कहते अपने की अगली बार करूंगा, फिर अगली बार करूंगा। जैसे कांग्रेस 70 साल गरीबी हटाई, इसी तरह वो 20 साल जमुना को साफ करेंगे। So please, not let us compare a wonderful people's leader with somebody who is always saying
you are good friends of Mr. Nikhil Kamath.
Is wonderful. That's why we are where we are. Right. So let's agree to disagree, and let me start from
let Piyush come in. Let Piyush come in.
You know, from where you left, I'll pick things. I'll pick things from there.
Generally, Piyush is very logical and very objective. That's the reason I told him this, because otherwise very logical and objective. I see no reason for him today to so upset and getting so upset about it.
I'm not upset at all, sir. I'm not upset at all because I definitely know that whatever Modi ji does, has a bigger purpose behind it. And what is that bigger purpose?
I cannot see death where there is a lot of shallowness. I've seen him close quarters.
Sir, I cannot see death where there is a lot of shallowness. Because when we are treading in shallow waters, I wouldn't imagine that I am swimming in the deep Pacific Ocean, because everything is a PR building exercise for Modi ji. Everything is
I think this is wrong. I want Arvind to come in on that. I'll tell you one thing. One minute. I want to say something out here, please. If you allow me, please.
I want 20 seconds.
If you allow me, please. If you allow me, please. Okay, sure, Shazia.
20 seconds.
So if I can come in right now,
so Arnab,
let Shazia come in and then I'm coming to you.
Piyush, just as a fellow panelist, Piyush. So we see others in the likeliness of who we are, and you don't get it, and you don't want to get it because you are surrounded and eclipsed by this complete visceral hatred. So you don't see the human that he is, how he embraces his humanity, and with all humility, what adverse situations.
Okay, 1 minute.
Let me finish. Piyush.
Let her finish.
10 seconds.
Why don't we ask
Piyush 10 seconds.
Let her finish.
There's a very difficult something small. Piyush, just take 10 seconds. Let's be decent to each other. So a very important part of his life, the Godhra riots. He spoke about that. I think that was amazing, and I think a lot of people would be shivering today.
I want to run that
they
clip.
know they have been called out once again.
I want to run that clip.
What he felt,
but Arvind,
what he went through. The journalist in you, Arnab, and the journalist in me, and all the people who got fooled by that ecosystem, which maligned Modi ji, demonized him.
No, they were not fooled. They were not fooled. They were part of the game. Let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing.
Yes.
Just 1 minute. One minute. People who run channels on Congress government money, who depended on contracts from the Congress government, and who have survived on Congress dole
and awards,
right? and who've got awards from the Congress ecosystem and accepted those awards gratefully, have no right to talk about Gujarat, because if they talk about Gujarat, they must first talk about the burning of the Sabarmati Express. That is the first thing. Arvind, I want you to come in, because someone said Prime Minister looks at everything as a PR opportunity. Every politician wants to have vast reach. But who comes across as authentic is my question. Arvind.
This is Arnab, this is the correct way to look at it. I'm actually very surprised that they are nitpicking, and that's probably the result of this classic interview from and trend setting by the Prime Minister, because the content is very good. It's very personal. Sagia talked about the empathy. It has got a lot of personal parallelities with Nikhil's life journey and the Prime Minister, which is of course a much longer life journey. But bigger thing than that, what Dr. Arvind Chadha said, let me tell you, Twitter may have 72%, I think that's what he quoted, as people who thought it was inspirational. If you go to LinkedIn and if you go to other platforms, data doesn't lie. And this is social media, which he also talks about, is reflective of the public's mood. It's actually 95% positive. Everybody's talking about the positive messages he has given, the personal messages he has given. It's a very confident Prime Minister. It has, so I think data, and I always have believed data doesn't lie. And I think you can't fault him with the content of this interview. You can't fault him on the medium that he has used. All in all, it's a superb interview. I think the fact that on your panel people are nitpicking small things and have to quote past things also tells how successful this interview has been.
Just to continue from where you left, sir.
Since Nikhil Kamath is your friend and as well as my friend, let's ask Nikhil Kamath. 1 second, sir. Sir, let's ask Nikhil Kamath to do a podcast with Rahul Gandhi also. And let's really see how candid, how grateful, how he's going to answer. I'm sure Rahul Gandhi is really also going to do it beautifully, because but Rahul Gandhi, every time he has really sat on an interview, he was fantastic.
I'm sure.
It was fantastic. So Nikhil, since you have done a great job
as long as
the honourable
as long as Nikhil avoids a question on women's empowerment, I'm fine. And Nikhil should ask him why he wants to have reservations in the Miss India competition. Ladies and gentlemen, the important point the Prime Minister... See, Rahul Gandhi is a non-serious politician, and you better get him back from Vietnam or Thailand or Sierra Leone or wherever he is right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the podcast, the Prime Minister spoke about several controversial issues, including the 2002 Godhra riots. He recalls the gut-wrenching night when he witnessed the riots break out. Listen in.
आजकल बहुत सारे बच्चे ये कह रहे हैं कि उनको एंग्जाइटी होती है, मुझे भी होती है. एंग्जाइटी मेरे लाइफ में द वे इट प्रेजेंट्स इटसेल्फ इज जैसे मैं आपके साथ बैठ के बातें कर रहा हूँ, आई फील नर्वस, आई फील एंग्शियस. मुझे ये लगता है कि पता नहीं मैं क्या बोल दूंगा, आपको कैसे लगेगा. एंड इट्स अ टफ कॉन्वर्सेशन फॉर मी टू हैव. बहुत सारे बच्चे एंग्जाइटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. ये आपकी जिंदगी में भी आता है, और जब आपके बचपन में आता था आपने इसके साथ किया क्या?
आता तो होगा, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि परमात्मा ने कुछ मेरे लिए दरवाजे बंद रखे होंगे. जो हर एक को देते हैं वो मुझे भी दिया होगा. लेकिन हर एक की अपनी इन चीजों को मैनेज करने की अलग अलग क्षमता होती है और अलग अलग स्टाइल होती है.
ये आप मुझे, अगर मैं ये आपसे सीखना चाहूं तो हाउ डज वन डू इट?
एग्जैक्टली कोई थीसिस के रूप में कहना तो बड़ा कठिन है. लेकिन मैं एक ऐसे पद पर बैठा हूं कि मुझे मेरे इमोशंस को, मेरी जो नेचुरल टेंडेंसी मनुष्य की होती है, उन सब से बाहर रहना होगा, सबसे ऊपर रहना होगा. अब जैसे 2002 गुजरात में चुनाव था. मेरी जिंदगी का वो सबसे बड़ा कसौटी थी. वैसे मैं मेरे जीवन में करीब करीब चुनाव जीतने का अवसर मुझे बहुत मिला है। लड़ा तब भी और लड़ाया तब भी। तो मेरे जीवन में न टीवी देखा, रिजल्ट आ रहे थे, कुछ नहीं। 11-12 बजे मेरे घर के नीचे सीएम बंगलो के बाहर ढोल की आवाज आने लगी। पर मैंने लोगों को कहा 12 बजे तक मुझे कुछ जानकारी मत देना। फिर हमारे ऑपरेटर ने चिट्ठी भेजी कि साहब आप 2/3 बहुमत से आप आगे चल रहे हैं वगैरह। तो मैं नहीं मानता हूं कि कुछ मेरे भीतर कुछ नहीं हुआ होगा, लेकिन उसको ओवर पावर करने वाला मेरे पास कोई थॉट था। तो मेरे लिए वो रेस्टलेसनेस का हो, एंजाइटी का हो, अलग हो गया। उसी प्रकार से मेरे यहां पर 5 जगह पे बम ब्लास्ट हुए। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं कैसी स्थिति होगी एक मुख्यमंत्री के नाते। तो मैंने कहा मैं पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम में जाना चाहता हूं। तो मेरे सिक्योरिटी वालों ने मना कर दिया कि साहब अभी पता नहीं कहाँ क्या पड़ा होगा और आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं। मैंने कहा जो भी होगा मैं जाऊंगा। वो बड़े परेशान थे कि ये आखिर कर मैं आकर के गाड़ी में बैठ गया। तो वो चलती, मैंने कहा पहले अस्पताल जाऊंगा। नहीं, बोले साहब अस्पतालों में भी बम फुट रहे हैं। मैंने कहा जो होगा होगा, मैं जाऊंगा। तो मेरे भीतर उसको आप कह सकते हैं कि रेस्टलेसनेस होगा, एंग्जाइटी होगी, लेकिन मेरा तरीका ये था कि मैं अपने मिशन के साथ खप जाता था। तो मैं उसको अलग रूप में अनुभव करता हूं। शायद मुझे उसमें जिम्मेवारी का भाव आ जाता है। मैं 24 फरवरी 2002 को जीवन में पहली बार एमएलए बना। 24 फरवरी 2002। 27 फरवरी पहली बार मैं असेंबली में गया। जीवन में पहली बार विधानसभा गृह में गया। मेरी एमएलए की आयु 3 दिन थी और अचानक गोधरा में इतना बड़ा कांड की खबर आने लगी। ट्रेन में आग लगी है, धीरे धीरे खबर आई मरने। तो मैं बहुत ही स्वाभाविक, जो भी रेस्टलेस का हो, जो भी, क्योंकि मैं चिंतित था। मैं हाउस में था। हाउस में मैं निकलते ही मैंने कहा भाई मैं गोधरा जाना चाहता हूं। तो मैंने कहा यहां से बड़ौदा जाएंगे, बड़ौदा से हम हेलीकॉप्टर लेंगे। तो बोले हेलीकॉप्टर तो है ही नहीं। तो मैंने कहा किसी का देखो। तो ओएनजीसी का शायद था, तो सिंगल इंजन था। तो उन्होंने मना कर दिया, वीआईपी को नहीं ले जा सकते। मैंने कहा मैं वीआईपी नहीं हूं, मैं कॉमन मैन हूं, मैं जाऊंगा। तो बड़ा झगड़ा हुआ हमारा। मैंने कहा मैं लिखित देता हूं, जो कुछ भी होगा मेरी जिम्मेवारी है, मैं सिंगल इंजन हेलीकॉप्टर से जाऊंगा। और मैं गोधरा पहुंचा। अब वो दर्दनाक दृश्य, इतने डेड बॉडी है, सब आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं। मैं भी इंसान हूं, मुझे भी सब कुछ हुआ जो होना था, लेकिन मुझे मालूम था कि मैं एक ऐसे पद पर बैठा हूं कि मुझे मेरे इमोशंस को, मेरी जो नेचुरल टेंडेंसी मनुष्य की होती है, उन सब से बाहर रहना होगा, सबसे ऊपर रहना होगा। और जो भी कर सकता हूं करके मैंने कोशिश की अपने आप को संभालने की।
I think with that clip, Prime Minister has answered a lot of his critics. It's complete silence today. There's Sannata today, you know. Shazia, on the Gujarat issue, nobody will speak again after this. The Prime Minister has spoken about his sense and the exact situation in which he was.
Arnab, imagine what he must have endured all those years.
He wanted to politicize. Shazia, 1 minute. If he wanted to politicize, he would have talked about his request for army and police from Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, which was sent. He didn't speak about that. So that's why I consider this interview less political and more of a humane approach to people.
No, he didn't talk about that. He didn't. He didn't. Yeah.
He didn't politicize any issue.
Just allow me.
Yes,
allow me
Piyush.
30 seconds, sir. All I'm trying to say that
just a moment. Just a moment, Dr. Saab. Shazia took Shazia. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ratanji, that's it. So first time he talked about what all he endured. And imagine he's been silent on this on a personal level. I'm not talking about politics. And he talks about it as to what he endured and how he kept quiet. This comes with a lot of gravitas, a lot of self-churn, a lot of depth within you. And I think this shows that it gives us an idea, a glimpse into all the pain that he must have endured at having been called all kinds of names. When this is true and he spells it out, I saw that and how much it hurt him, how heart-wrenching it was to see this develop. And imagine to be blamed for something as horrible as
the
that.
one-sided narrative.
I would have
people and journalists get awards for that kind of
Piyush.
Since he was talking so candidly, according to my fellow panelists. So since he was talking so candidly and was so humane in his approach during this podcast, he should have acknowledged that he failed as a chief minister. He failed in managing the law and order situation in Gujarat in 2002. What I see this interview as, see this podcast as, it's an edited version of autobiography, which is an exercise in generation of empathy.
Okay, I'll get Arvind on this. Arvind,
Nothing
along
else.
with Ratan Sharda, I'd say this before Arvind comes in. Arvind can respond to this. The fact is, Piyush, give me 30 seconds. I'll let him come in. There's a clean chit to Prime Minister Modi. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal of Zakia Jafri, right? There was a one-sided narrative. A three-judge bench upheld the decision of the High Court and the Metropolitan Magistrate to accept the SIT team's clean chit to Prime Minister Modi. Let it be recorded. You people,
That's fine.
you people,
that,
Piyush, you people always try to push a one-sided narrative. And you got very embarrassed. You want to talk about the Gujarat riots. You don't want to talk about the Sabarmati train burning, which triggered the riots.
Both were equally
You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. You wanted to use your narrative to stop Prime Minister Modi from being the leader of the country. And you failed.
Whose responsibility was it to maintain law and order then? Was he not responsible?
Arnab, if I can come in, I think
Vajpayee reminded him of Raj Dharma. It was not us. It was Vajpayee who reminded
this is Arnab. This is a classical response. This is a classical response that is happening today. The PM had no reason to mention and clarify. As you rightly said, he has won all the legal battles. Everything has been, cleared by the different state high courts and the Supreme Courts, SIT. So there is no reason. And that's where I think the Congress ecosystem, the panel panelists always err. They actually try to stir up an issue, as I said, where they're not finding any. This is a classical case that he has shared his personal journey. He's talked about things, which relate to stress and how you overcame that. So I think, and this is, as I said, I'm a technology person, but also who has done political communication. I can tell you, I think 23 years ago, this incident happened almost 23 years ago. The Gen Z that is listening to this looks at it, that how he has accepted what how do you fight stress? How do you change yourself and put yourself in a different gear, and how do you solve problems? And the generation that he is talking to which, because it's a non-political thing, gets inspired by this. We can keep debating, the incidents, the legal ramifications and all of that, which actually need not any debate. But
I agree with you on that he's an excellent communicator. He communicates his message very effectively.
Yeah, you're actually,
when he wanted to generate empathy.
Piyush, let me complete, Piyush. I don't come and debate with you, but what you are doing is you're just going round and round saying the same thing. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is
because
not,
I believe the same thing, sir.
This is not a narrative that you can win. You have to, and I think your other fellow panelist was gracious enough to say that he has delivered an excellent content in a medium that the most of the people understand, and the audience very positive, so I think we have to, in my opinion, that's the last word I have on that. Of course, he has set a lot of things straight. He could have made it very political, but it didn't. It's actually very little about politics. It's about his personal journey and inspirations. And he's speaking in the week that he launched Startup India.
That's what he was trying to do.
With a
That's what he was trying to do.
Startup India.
Well, I think the Prime Minister was trying to connect.
A simple question.
Okay, I'll play one more clip, ladies and gentlemen. And this clip is very important before I end. It is about the call that the Prime Minister Modi made from Lal Chowk to his mother. And I think it's very, very significant. It's a personal side of the Prime Minister, which we haven't seen before. He talks about the way he felt. And in a way, he connects his political and social duty to his deep connection with his mother and how he made the first call to her after being at Lal Chowk to hoist the tricolor many, many, many years back. Let's listen in.
अगर सोचिए कि कल आपके जिंदगी में एक ऐसा इवेंट हो जिससे आपको सबसे ज्यादा खुशी मिले, तो पहला कॉल आपका किसको जाएगा?
ऐसा है कि मैं जब श्रीनगर के लाल चौक में तिरंगा झंडा फहराने गया था और पंजाब में फगवाड़ा के पास हमारी यात्रा पर अटैक हो गया, गोलियां चली, काफी लोग 5 या 6 लोग मारे गए, काफी लोग इंजर्ड हुए, तो पूरे देश में एक तनाव था कि क्या होगा। श्रीनगर लाल चौक में जा रहे हैं, तब तो तिरंगा झंडा फहराना भी बड़ा मुश्किल था। लाल चौक में तिरंगा झंडे को जला दिया जाता था। तिरंगा झंडा फहराने के बाद हम जम्मू आए, तो मैंने जम्मू से मेरा पहला फोन मेरी मां को किया था। मेरे लिए वो एक खुशी की पल थी और दूसरा मन में था कि मां को चिंता होती होगी कि ये गोलियां चली हैं और ये कहां गया है। तो मुझे याद है कि मैंने पहला फोन मां को किया था। मुझे उस फोन का महात्म्य आज समझ आता है। वैसा मुझे फीलिंग और मैं कहीं आया नहीं।
Arvind, I want to ask you, you've dealt with communications for the PM. He's chosen to open up like this. He's not done this before. You know, he can keep a very poker face on most conversations. But he's chosen to open up.
As everybody said, this is not a political conversation. Every analyst is trying to convert and make it into a political conversation.
Neither is it an interview in that sense. It's a podcast, conversation.
It's a podcast. People are going to listen to it on their AirPods, on Spotify and other podcast platforms. And I think they understand by now Prime Minister's voice is known all across the world. So this is a conversation he's doing in a very different manner. And I again repeat the same thing, that it is very positive. It comes out as very positive. People don't know the gory details and the legal issues of Godhra and 2002. So, he's just converted this into an inspirational story, the connect with his mother, and what is the importance of that one phone call of talking to your parents. And there's a lot of messages there which I'm surprised that, as I said, if you look at the data and the responses on social media right now, which is breaking the internet, is something that I think more communication chapters can be written on.
Yeah.
He outdoes himself in innovation in communication. And as a person who's in the public space, holds a very high office, I think it's important that he innovates while he communicates, but also inspires both from a political rally perspective, but also the youth.
And Tanveer, what's happened is that look at the amount of effort and work that the Prime Minister does. The leader of the opposition is still on holiday. He's 20 years younger. Can he come back before the end of the year?
Please send an invitation. He is definitely going to be a greater communicator. The future Prime Minister of India, Rahul Gandhi, will be a great interview. So I would request my friend Nikhil Kamath to do a podcast with Rahul Gandhi.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I loved Arvind Kejriwal being
okay, ladies and gentlemen, on the other side, why I believe that there's too much hype being made about working hard. I mean, what's this nonsense going on these days? We're having to work so hard. We are going to have to work 90 hours a week, 80 hours a week. Can we get a break? Can we get Saturday, Sunday off? Can we get a third day off? I mean, we have the most number of holidays in the world. People are having a damn good time. The country needs to grow. There needs to be a spirit of national commitment and national enterprise. And on the other side tonight, why I feel too much of a hype is being made about having to work and having to work as much as you ought to. Ladies and gentlemen, huge debate when I'm back.
Quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.